Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks 40k channel. Welcome to our latest 40k battle report. Today we are back at Warhammer World in a Challenge the Geeks game. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but I've been contacted by Kyle, who has brought his Chaos with him, and he's taken on my Space Wolves. So today we are doing tactical escalation, and the objectives are down and so are the deployment. So objective for the Space Wolves number 1 is hidden away on the ruined floor of this building. We also have number 2 in the doorway of the ruins of the building there. We also have number 4, again, ruined buildings. This board's got a lot of ruined buildings. We have number 3 hidden away behind one of the old fortresses, and we have number 6 top of the old shrine, and finally we have number 5 again in the doorway. So HQ and Warlord for the Chaos Day, we have the Lord of Change. He has Bolt of Change and Boom and Firestorm. Next HQ choice we have the Fate Weaver, and he comes with the psychic powers. So on the left head he's got Shriek, Smite and Summon, and on the right head he has got Fiery Form, Scryer's Gaze and Cursed Earth. Over to troops, we have got 1 squad of Pink Horrors, a 2nd squad of Pink Horrors. So over in the formation attachment we have 3 of the Skull Cannons, which forms Gore Thunder Battery formation, and we also have a Herald on his chariot. We also have an allied attachment of Ahriman 5,000 Suns in a Rhino. So that is the 1,750 points of chaos that are coming after the Space Wolves today. HQ and Warlord for the Space Wolves day. I am taking my Iron Priest. He comes equipped with a Thunder Hammer, his servo harness, and is on his Thunderwolf mount. Over to troops, I'm taking a 10-man Grey Hunter squad in a Rhino. In here there is a plasma gun and a Wolfpack leader with a Power Fist. Exactly the same loadout for the 2nd squad minus the Rhino. Think about combat squadding these guys and having them on 2 objectives. Fast attack, I am taking a Stormwolf Flyer. This comes equipped with the Hellfrost cannons, Las cannons, Hurricane bolters and everything else. It will be empty today. Next, I have taken my Thunderwolf Cavalry. Now there are 3 new additions to this squad. So in here there is the pack leader with a Thunder Hammer, 2 guys with chainswords, 2 Power Fists and another guy with a Thunder Hammer, and they are all equipped with Storm Shields. I've also got 5 Fenrisian Wolves. These guys will be outflanking. 5 Wolfrin squad, all equipped with their claws. A Venerable Dreadnought with the Great Frost Axe and the Blizzard Shield. He will be arriving from reserves in a drop pod. And then finally in heavy support I am taking a Vindicator to hopefully lay down lots of firepower on the evil Chaos and Thousand Suns. So that is my 1,750 points of Space Wolves. The Wolfrin and the Thunderwolf Cavalry are in the middle of the battlefield, looking at making their way up as quickly as they can. They will be supported by the fire of the Vindicator, and the Iron Priest on his mount has joined in with the Thunderwolf Cavalry. At the back of the battlefield, the Grey Hunter squad, I've combat squadded these down into 5-man, and they're holding on to objective 1 for me. There is a 10-man Grey Hunter squad inside of the Rhino, and then the final 5-man squad are on the left-hand side of the battlefield, looking at moving up as quickly as they can to secure me some victory points. In reserve I have my Dreadnought in a drop pod. I have my Stormwolf Flyer with the Fenrisian Wolves outflanking. We have the Lord of Change perched high upon one of the buildings of this ruined landscape, ready to swoop down. He will be supported by all the little pink horrors that will be running around, making high-pitched noises as they go across the battlefield. They will be supported by the Gore Thunder Battery formation at the back of the battlefield, laying down lots of horrible fire across the battlefield. On the right hand side of the battlefield we have more pink horrors all up in the buildings, scrambling over the top of the ruins. We also have the Fate Weaver. We also have the Rhino that contains 1,000 Suns and Ahriman, and my Space Wolves are going to be targeting this guy because, let's face it, we hate 1,000 Suns. And then we also have the Herald on the Blood Throne. So it is Space Wolves to go first, but Kyle is going to try and seize the initiative. which he doesn't.
Sad.
So my objective this turn is hunt with cunning, which is basically kill an enemy unit off with something with outflank or any of that Space Wolf gubbins, but that's not going to happen this turn. For my Wolfren table, and I got Beast of Swiftness, so that was passed on to my Thunderwolf Cavalry. So these guys have moved up 6 inches. Thunderwolf Cavalry have moved up 15 inches. My Vindicator's also moved up. I don't think it's going to be in range. My drop pod is in, landed exactly where I wanted it, slap bang in the middle of the battlefield, and the Dreadnought has got out. It is facing down against the Pink Horrors. The Rhino has moved up 6 inches, looking at heading up the left hand side of the battlefield, trying to get me any objectives that come out on the cards, and they are being followed and supported by the 5-man Grey Hunter squad heading up towards objective 2. In the shooting phase, the only thing to open up was my drop pod, but I managed to kill off 2 of the Pink Horrors. The Thunderwolf Cavalry have ran up 6 inches, but with the plus 3 inches given to them by the Wolfren, that is 9-inch run move in this turn. The Wolfren themselves only managed to run up 2 whole inches, so they are coming up the battlefield slowly. Objective for the Chaos this turn, they basically got to destroy a unit in their turn, and with that in mind, the Lord of Change and the Fate Weaver are down. They are looking at the Thunderwolf Cavalry, the biggest threat. Probably in the Space Wolf army, they're looking at wiping these out this turn. The Pink Horrors have formed a human shield in front of the cannons, trying to protect them for a little bit longer from the Dreadnought. The Rhino has moved up and moved around the building to get some cover from any fire that comes from the Wolves. They know how much the Space Wolves hate the Thousand Suns. And then finally, the only other thing to move was the Herald that has moved up the 12 inches on the right hand side of the battlefield, heading up towards objective 2, and also the 5-man Grey Hunter squad. In the psychic phase, the Fate Weaver opened up with the prismatic gaze at the Vindicator, doing no damage. Little Pink Horrors also opened up with exactly the same, taking off 2 hull points off my Dreadnought. That was quite nasty, but not as nasty as in the shooting phase. The massive blast from the 3 skull cannons opened up at the Thunderwolf Cavalry, killing off 1, taking 1 down to a wound. Unfortunately, I've never seen so many 6s rolled in my entire life. Basically, there's about 6 6s all in the one roll, and killed off all my Wolfren. So, yay, they're dead. In the assault phase, the Lord of Change has made it into combat, doing 1 glancing hit and 1 penetrating hit. Both were saved by the Great Shield. And then my Dreadnought hit back with his Frost Axe and did 1 wound. Unfortunately, that was saved by the 3-up invuln save of this guy. At the end of the turn, the Chaos have scored a victory point for completely and utterly destroying my Wolfren. So my objective for turn 2 is Witch Hunter. So I've basically got to kill something that's got a psychic, which is pretty much everything in this army. So that's always good. My first of my reserves are on my Stormwolf Flyer, my 5-man Grey Hunter squad. My Rhinos move forward, depositing his 10 men. We are looking at firing everything at that Herald, trying to kill him off. The Vindicator has moved up 6 inches. The Fate Weaver is actually in the air, so we're going to ignore him, and we're going to land a shell, hopefully onto the Pink Horrors, killing a few of them off. The Dreadnought, because this guy survived in combat with the Lord of Change, it's given my Thunderwolf Cavalry chance to get up and join in the combat. The second of my reserves are on the Fenrisian. Wolves have come on the back of the board, and they are looking at giving these guys something to think about, or maybe coming into the back of the cannons and hopefully tying these guys up. The Vindicator opened up at the Pink Horrors, killing off 1, but I did scatter back, hitting my own drop pod, taking off a hull point and losing the Storm Bolters inside. So this is now just a pretty piece of scenery with 2 hull points left. The Storm Wolf and the plasma guns from the 2 Grey Hunter squads opened up at the Chariot, only managing to do 1 wound on the Herald in the driver's seat, but he managed to pass a strength test because he was hit by the Hellfrost cannon. The Fenrisian Wolves have moved up 5 inches. The Lord of Change has been hit, and been hit hard by the Thunderwolf Cavalry and the Dreadnought. Unfortunately, with such an amazing invuln save. I've only managed to do 1 wound on him for 1 wound back. There was a challenge issued to my squad, my Wolfpack leader, in with the Thunderwolf Cavalry, and he did a wound there, and then basically everybody just hit him, and only 1 wound done. Yeah, this guy is tough. At the end of the Space Wolves turn, with the death of 1 pink horror, I score Witch Hunter, so it's currently 2-1 on victory points because the Chaos managed to get first blood and they got their first objective. 2 new objectives for the Chaos this turn. We have Secure Objective 1 and Secure Objective 6. So with that in mind, the Secure Objective 6, the Pink Horrors have kind of stayed still. They've shuffled around a little bit because they can see the Fenrisian Wolves making a break around the back of the battlefield. The Skull Cannons have kind of shuffled round a little bit to lay down covering fire because the Thousand Suns are out. They have seen their mortal enemies, the Space Wolves, on the battlefield, and they're looking at killing these guys off. The Herald on his throne has moved up, looking at the other 5-man squad as well, with Secure Objective 1, which is currently being held by my Grey Hunters. The Fate Weaver is up in the air, he's flying around, he is looking at taking these guys off that objective. The Fate Weaver opened up with Prismatic Gaze at the back of the Stormwolf Flyer. Luckily for me, he only rolled a 1 on the D table, so no damage done. The Aspiring Sorcerer in the Thousand Suns squad opened up with the Treason of Zeech onto my Grey Hunter squad, managed to cast it, get it off. So these guys had a moment where they turned their bolters on their fellow Grey Hunters, killing off 1 of them, and during that the Aspiring Sorcerer got perils and then rolled a 6, so he's kind of gone like supersonic beast mode now. And finally the Pink Horrors opened up with Flickering Fire, killing off 3 of the Fenrisian Wolves, so only down to 2. The Skull Cannons right down the back of the battlefield opened up at the 10-man Grey Hunter squad, killing off 9 in the explosion and taking a hull point off the Rhino. That blast is terrifying and it's starting to rip my army apart. The one guy that was left, Jeff, was pulled down by the bolter fire of the Thousand Suns, so that squad are no more. In assault, the Herald and his throne made it in, killing off 4 of my Grey Hunters down here. 1 guy left alive, failed his morale check and has gone back 9 inches towards the back of the board. He's going to try and lay some fire down on this guy, otherwise he's going to be chased down all game. In the ongoing fight with the Lord of Change and the Thunderwolf Cavalry, there was a lot of wounds done again, but a lot of saves. Managed to take 2 more wounds off this demon. He's down to 3 for no wounds back. So at the end of the Chaos turn, they score another victory point for Secure Objective 6, because obviously the Pink Horrors are sitting on that objective quite nicely. So my 2 new objectives this turn, I've got Heroes of Fenris, who's basically fighting a challenge, which I am doing currently, so I'll get that one, and Secure Objective 2. So with that in mind, the 1 remaining Grey Hunter has fallen back onto Objective 2. I have ran him, he did run 5 inches and he's now up on that objective. The Stormwolf Flyer has come down, swooped down, he's looking at the Thousand Suns, laying down as much firepower on them as possible. Guys inside the building have shuffled a little bit, ready to get line of sight on this guy, trying to make him take a grounding check. The Vindicator has also moved up. He's got his sights also set on the Thousand Suns with his template. Now my luck, I'll probably scatter and hit something of my own. And then finally the 2 remaining Fenrisian Wolves have come around the back of the battlefield. They're looking at going in to these cannons, hopefully tying them up and stopping them from firing horrible shells of templates of doom and destruction down onto the heads of the brothers. 3 of the Thousand Suns have fallen. They were pulled down by the Stormwolf Flyer. The Vindicator did actually open up, but unfortunately I kind of did this destruction on the building here where the template landed. It was such a bad scatter. So those guys are down a couple. The guys at the back of the battlefield with the Fate Weaver opened up, but there was no damage done. So well done, guys. The Fenrisian Wolves made it in to the Skull Cannons, doing 1 hull point off one of them, and unfortunately they were hit back and one of them was pulled down. It's always a sad day when one of my puppies dies, but they did what they had to do. They got in and caused a little bit of damage. But in more important news, the Lord of Change has gone. He's been pulled down in combat. My Thunderwolf cavalry basically did lots and lots of damage. He had one wound left, and then he had to pass his demonic instability and failed it miserably, so he has gone off the board, giving me Slay the Warlord. So as well as Slay the Warlord, I also get Score Objective 2 because my one remaining Grey Hunter is sitting on that objective. I also get Hunt with Cunning because there was a character in a challenge with the Lord of Change. And then I also score Heroes of Fenris, which is if something basically kills it, something in without flank and all that gubbins, then I score a victory point. So I score all 3 that turn, 4 victory points in one turn. I will take that every day. Objectives for the Chaos this turn: we have Big Game Hunter, Secure Objective 4 and Blood and Guts. So with Big Game Hunter and Secure Objective 4 in mind, Araman has broken off from the Thousand Sun squad, looking at going into the Vindicator to get Big Game Hunter. These two guys just round the ruins, looking at getting onto Objective 4. The Fate Weaver is still flying. He's looking at possibly coming across and trying to get some kind of revenge for the Lord of Change. The Thousand Suns Rhino now has deposited its cargo. It's been on the move. It's gone up and over some of the wreckage of the buildings. Unfortunately rolling a 1, so he's now immobilised.
Can't drive.
He cannot drive at all. Like my Vindicator driver can't shoot, he cannot drive. The Herald on the throne has moved around to the side, possibly looking at the Rhino there. The rear armour on display, ready for Big Game Hunter in case Araman fails. The Pink Horrors have formed their defensive line. They've got the Dreadnought and the Thunderwolf cavalry marching down towards them as quickly as possible. And with that in mind, the Skull Cannons have fallen back as far as they can go, trying to get some ground between the oncoming Space Wolves. The Fate Weaver opened up with Bolt of Change and Flickering Fire, killing off 2 of my Thunderwolf cavalry guys. So these are now only down to 4, including the Iron Priest. My Dreadnought has gone. It is out of hull points. It was killed by my Iron Priest. So this guy did the treachery spell, took control of his mind, opened up with his Hellfrost pistol. Bang, gone. Out of hull points. Brilliant. The last spell to be cast was Demonic Strength on Araman. He will be going in to the Vindicator. The Skull Cannons on the back of the battlefield opened up at the Fenrisian Wolves, killing off another 2, and my one remaining Power Fist guy is down a wound as well. So these guys have passed to leadership. They do need to get into combat and take these out. The Herald on his throne went into the back of the Rhino, making short work of that, securing Big Game Hunter. But just to be on the safe side, Araman went in to the Vindicator. Again, quite an easy target for somebody under demonic possession and demonic strength and everything else that's going on with this guy at the moment, and easily destroyed the Vindicator. And finally, the Pink Horrors made it into combat with the Iron Priest and the Thunderwolf cavalry, doing no damage to me, but I killed off 10. Annoyingly, there are 2 guys left, so they are locked in combat. That's really annoying. I wanted these guys free to go into the cannons, but that's not going to happen this turn. So at the end of the turn for the Chaos, they score Big Game Hunter and Blood and Guts. Unfortunately, Objective 4 is just out of range for the Thousand Suns. Objectives for this turn for the Space Wolves: I've got Secure Objective 1. Happy days. We have Oath of Vengeance, which Kyle has put on to the Fate Weaver because he's big, nasty and hard to kill. Secure Objective 5 and Kingslayer. Now I have already killed his Warlord or any previous turn, so I will get D3 victory points for that one. Secure Objective 5 in mind. The one remaining Grey Hunter that was holding Objective 2 moved up 6. I needed to run him 6 inches to get me onto Objective 5, and I rolled a 2. So that was really well done. The Storm Wolf has moved up the battlefield, looking at putting all of his fire onto these cannons, and then the one remaining Fenrisian Wolf is looking at going back into assault. The Storm Wolf opened fire, He used Power of the Machine Spirit to open up at the Pink Horrors, killing off 2 with his Hurricane Bolters. The last cannons opened up down here doing no damage, and neither did the Hellfrost cannon. So that was really, really pants. Then we went into combat. The Fenrisian Wolf was in combat, destroying one of the cannons, which is absolutely brilliant, and then no wounds done back. So these guys are still in combat, but they are obviously vehicles. But the Thunderwolf Cavalry and the Iron Priest now free of the Pink Horrors. We pulled them down. We are looking at our next target. So at the end of that turn, I score Secure Objective 1. And we also get Kingslayer. Now it's D3 victory points. I'm just going to roll. And it's an extra 2 victory points. Chaos objectives this turn. We have still got Secure Objective 4. We have Assassinate. We have Secure Objective 6. And we also have Supremacy. So I only actually hold 1 objective. So the Chaos only need to get 2. Now Secure Objective 6. They've already got. The Pink Horrors are on them. Secure Objective 4. The Thousand Suns are now holding that objective. Fate Weaver has moved up. He's looking at the Iron Priest and the Thunderwolf Cavalry. The cannons have moved around. They've basically taken themselves out of combat with the Wolf, looking at opening fire at my Thunderwolf Cavalry. And the Pink Horrors have moved around a little bit. We've basically just shuffled. They're going to fire and burn my poor little dog. And the final thing to move this turn is the Herald. He's moved up on his throne. He's looking at securing Linebreaker. The Fate Weaver opened up with Bolt of Change, hitting the Iron Priest, but I managed to look out Sir it onto my Thunderwolf Cavalry guy, who failed one of his 3-up invuln saves, so he was killed. Somehow my dog managed to survive, so my Iron Priest is now all alone. He also tried to cast Flickering Fire, which is a Warp Charge 3, so it went off, but it went off with perils, and a 2 was rolled. So a wound was taken, and a psychic power forgotten, and that psychic power was the Zeech Firestorm. The Iron Priest was the main focus of all of the firepower, mainly from these cannons right at the back. Luckily for me, 1 hit but no wounds, and the other one hit the drop pod but no damage done to that. The Thousand Suns also opened up, 1 wound, but I saved that one. The 1 remaining Grey Hunter all the way back here was opened up by the Rhino, but again no damage done. So at the end of the Chaos turn, they score Objective 4, they score Objective 6, they also get Supremacy. So if you can roll me 1 dice, it's 3 extra victory points. So at the start of turn 5 for the Space Wolves, my new objectives this turn are Blood and Guts, basically kill something in the assault phase. We have Behind Enemy Lines, and we have Assassinate. So with everything in mind, my Grey Hunters that are up on this floor with Objective 1 have now jumped down onto the middle floor. We need to clear this guy out of our back lines to deny Linebreaker, so I'm going to go into assault here. The 1 remaining Grey Hunter has now moved up. He is securing me Objective 5, which is on the other side of that doorway. With Assassinate in mind, the Stormwolf Flyers moved up. I'm going to try and Hellfrost Araman down here. There is also a Psyker as well in that squad, so I'm trying to kill these guys off. My Iron Priest and my 1 remaining Fenrisian Wolf have moved up. They are going into the skull cannons down here, but they are behind enemy lines. The Stormwolf Flyer opened up with the Hurricane Bolters and the Hellfrost Cannon, shooting down into this squad, killing off the Psyker at the front, scoring me Assassinate. Over in the assault phase, the little doggy has gone. My last Fenrisian Wolf was pulled down, but my Iron Priest went in with his Thunderhammer and his servo harness, doing the damage needed to kill another one of the cannons off. There is 1 guy left. And then my 5-man squad down here made it into combat with the Herald, trying to kill off this Herald. Basically all got wiped out. 1 guy survived, failed his morale check, and went whee off the board. So yeah, not brilliant down here, but I have denied Assassinate. The only thing that Carl can kill for Assassinate now is my Iron Priest. So at the end of this turn, I score Assassinate for the Psyker that's pulled down to the Hellfrost Cannon. Behind enemy lines, I scored. There is 1 guy in there, so I only score 1 victory point. And secure Objective 5. Now, I don't get Blood or Guts, because even though I've killed a Skull Cannon, it is part of a squadron. 4 new objectives for the Chaos this turn. We have Secure Objective 1, Secure Objective 5, No Prisoners, and Secure Objective 2. Objective 2 is down here in the doorway of the ruins. The Fate Weaver is still up in the air hovering, so he is not securing that objective. Secure Objective 5, that's hidden away behind the door. Now I do have my Grey Hunter holding that objective currently. Secure Objective 1 is now being held by the Herald on his chariot. He is inside that building. If I hadn't moved my Grey Hunters, they'd have just been assaulted and murdered anyway this turn by this guy. The one remaining cannon has moved out of combat with my Iron Priest. I think he's seen enough of his other chariots and other vehicles destroyed by the Space Wolves, so he's decided to bug out for a little while, and I don't blame him. Really, the only other thing to move was Ahriman and the one remaining Thousand Suns. They've kind of shuffled round a little bit. My one remaining Grey Hunter was pulled down by flickering fire from the Fate Weaver. He then also summoned up some lovely Demonettes, who are now holding on to Objective 5. The end of turn 5 for the Chaos. They have scored no prisoners because they killed the one remaining Grey Hunter. Secure Objective 5, the Demonettes are sitting on that one, and Secure Objective 1 because the Herald is sitting on that one. So we need to see if we get a turn 6. So if you can roll me a dice. It's a 5, we do get a turn 6. So as we go on to turn 6, my new objectives are, we have Blood and Guts, Supremacy, Hold Your Ground, Ascendancy, Secure Objective 4 and Overwhelming Firepower. So the only two that I can really score are Overwhelming Firepower and Secure Objective 4. My Iron Priest has moved back around the ruins of the building. He's holding on to Objective 3 just in case that does make an appearance if we get a turn 7, but he is securing me Linebreaker. The Stormwolf Flyer has moved around. He's also opened up. He's also in hover mode now as well. He opened up with everything that he has at Ahriman and the Thousand Suns. Killed the Thousand Suns guy off. He also took a wound on Ahriman with the Hurricane Bolters. I then fired my Hellfrost Cannon in focus mode. Strength 8, AP 1. Boom in the face. Ahriman was wounded. Failed his save. He should be dead, but the Fate Weaver allowed him to re-roll it, getting a 5, so he passed his Invuln save, and Ahriman is perfectly fine. So at the end of my turn, I only managed to score Overwhelming Firepower. These cards were not helpful for me in my turn 6. Chaos objectives for this turn, we have Secure Objective 2, we have Harness the Warp. Really, that's so easy to do with these guys. We have Hold the Line and Assassinate, and Secure Objective 3 twice. Objective 3 has become really important. Hold the Line and Assassinate. My Iron Priest is sitting on Objective 3. Carl needs to kill this guy, shift him, and then he'll be able to score about 4 victory points here. Secure Objective 2, the Fate Weaver will probably have to come down out of the sky to take that objective, but I think these guys are going to be on the move. The Exalted Flamer opened up at the Iron Priest and actually did 1 wound. The Skull Cannon failed to do any damage, however went into combat and killed him. I got very unlucky with one of my rolls, to be honest. He died, so that is no Linebreaker for me, and 2 Secure Objective 3s for the Chaos, and Assassinate, and Hold the Line, and Harness the Warp. And then finally in Assault, Ahriman poked up through the hull of the Stormwolf Flyer, removing all of the hull points. So the Stormwolf Flyer has also gone. Really good phase for the Chaos. The Fate Weaver also came down as well, just to make sure that he had Objective 2. So there we go then, guys. That is the end of the battle, and it is a victory for the Chaos. They have overcome the strength and might of the Space Wolves. That was a really good fun game to play in. Massive thank you to Kyle, who has travelled to Warhammer World to face us today. If you guys fancy taking on the Challenge of the Geeks, then drop us an email to the email address that will be in the description box below. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please leave us a like. That was a really, really good, fun game. It's nice seeing an army that we don't get often on the channel. Please leave us a comment. It'd be great to hear your feedback. And as always, we will see you on the next one.